Let's tee it up, see how long and straight we can hit it here on the program. April 2012, Wednesday. JD, good to have you on board. We do appreciate, as always, when you take some of your time to come here and join us on the program where intellectual anarchy is encouraged and nurtured. For now, Marcelo working the dials, Brad producing the program, emails at the website, jerrydoyle.com. Poll question up there. Oh, before we get to the poll question, do I understand this correctly, guys? We have the new studio cam actually up, working in some greater capacity than it. Who's this guy on TV right now who looks like Richard Nixon? Did you see that guy that was on Fox?
Oh yeah, he's on there.
Was he? He's. I haven't. I looked out of the corner of my eye. I was like, oh, I'm not a pundit. I'm Nick. Anyway, so we have the new studio cam going, which is not what it was before, but it's a better picture and it's more in What exactly? Why don't you tell me what it is that I'm supposed to know, and you tell them, so I don't waste their time telling them what I don't know.
It's more better.
More better. Thank you very much. Brad, back in the box. Thank you, boo-boo. 800-876-4123 is the number. What? Back in the box.
Boo-boo?
You know. Boo-boo. Well. Yeah, it's a combination of Pulp Fiction and Yogi Bear.
You're calling him Boo-boo now?
No, back in the box. Boo-boo. How about a picnic basket
for
me and Boo-boo?
Hey, boo-boo.
Exactly. Don't you? What time do you guys get up? You should start getting up earliest so that the brain's functioning at a little higher pace. Grease the wheels. Let's get going. It's a potato chips to nuclear war. That's what we do here on the poll. Poll question up there for you today at the web. No, I didn't call him boo-boo. Obama hoax person and strategist David Axelrod says Americans are ready for tax hikes because they know the current system has unfairly benefited the wealthy and caused huge budget deficits. What do you say to that? Nobody replied, don't care, just keep my govy checks coming. 3% say he's right, we need higher taxes. 20% say he's a lunatic, taxes are already too high. 77% saying spending, not low taxes, cause the deficits. You can answer it there at the website or here at 800-876-4123. So in a follow-up to the studio cam, this is going to be back after we get the opening of the show done, and then you're going to render it and put it up on the website, and people will be able to click back to the good old days when they could actually view what was happening here on the show, correct?
Correct.
That's why I shaved today. That's why I have on a nice, brand-new, clean T-shirt, courtesy of my astronaut buddy Rick Linehan, NASA, if you can see it right there. 1981 to 2011. I put this on today. I was like, it should just say 1981 to ... Should still be going. But no, because we've lost track of what it is that we do. Here's a great piece. We got a ton of guests today. Nicole Gelinas from the Manhattan Institute is going to join us at the bottom of this hour, talk about Chris Christie, his political futures, his comments about the passivity of the American people, and also this new proposal by Fannie and Freddie to start writing down mortgages. But the concern they have is that, well, if they start to do that to people who haven't paid their mortgages, what's to keep people who are paying their mortgages from stopping paying their mortgages and then benefit from a program that they can't benefit from now? Tim Carney's going to join us from the Washington Examiner, his latest there on the absurdity of the Buffett rule and who really pays and what's really fair. Bruce Fine, senior policy advisor to Ron Paul, is going to join us later in the program to talk about Santorum out. Where does Santorum support go? Gingrich says it's going to him. It would have to seem to be that perhaps Newt Gingrich, who bounced his check to the state of Utah to have his name on the ballot, might be slightly in error there. And also Jeffrey Lord is going to join us from the American Spectator to talk about the huckster, Mike Huckabee, and his new radio show and how it's, let's just say, coming out of the blocks with less than credibility. A lot of guests to get to on the program. Let's start off with this piece in Human Events by David Harsanyi. I guess that's how you, Harsany. I don't want to mispronounce by putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable. But he's talking about this Obama fairness fiction or this fairness doctrine that this administration is all about these days. Now, basically, you have to understand what Obama is all about. He's a socialist, he's a narcissist, and he's playing to the entitled. That's the strategy. First part of the strategy, though, was to get as many people beholden to the federal government as possible. So now we have a nation approaching 50% that don't pay any federal income tax. Now, the tipping point of that would be 50 plus 1, where you have more people that are going to vote for more benefits for themselves. When you can rob from Peter to pay Paul, you can always count on the support of Paul. Obama, who can't count on his record, who can't count on his efforts to help the economy, who can't look back and say, look at all the wonderful things I did for people who didn't have jobs and what we needed to do to create the environment where jobs could be created. Now he has to create this notion of an unfair society, and that the narcissist socialist playing to the entitled is talking in simplistic terms about basically we have to attack the rich. The fairness is going to be one of, if not the central message for the entire Obama campaign. Now, how's the Senate going to help Obama with this, with whorehouse Harry Reid as the Senate majority leader? You know, whorehouse Harry Reid, the guy who said we decide who serves in the Senate, not the people. The same whorehouse Harry Reid who said you can smell the tourist. We're just a inconvenience to people like whorehouse Harry Reid who don't really want to be bothered with us, but they kind of have to at some point to make it believe that they believe that we have some place in society. But whorehouse Harry Reid and the Senate are going to put together this vote, this fake vote, this symbolic vote on paying a Fair Share Act, better known as the Buffett rule, courtesy of Warren Buffett. The United States, we owe $16 trillion. We're looking at a stagnant, underemployed economy, but nothing, this guy writes, says leadership like coordinating your populist message with a sham congressional vote to propel fundraising in Florida. Fairness, he writes, an elusive idea normally exploited by spoiled children, is now the foundation of the Democrat Party's economic policy. If implemented, anyone earning $1 million a year or more pays at least 30% in taxes, and that's supposedly going to help reduce the deficit by raising $31 billion over 11 years. I know the number we hear is $47 billion, but that's creative accounting, courtesy of this administration and all those in the media that want to make you believe that the number is actually higher than what it is. But with regard to revenue, what has history shown us? History has shown us that when you lower tax rates, you broaden the tax base, you increase revenues, and you bring more money into the Treasury. Higher taxes, well, what does that basically do? It gives people incentives to figure out ways, inventive ways, to avoid paying taxes and to ride it out until such time as someone comes into office that's going to be able to understand what works and what doesn't. But when you have to put this all in perspective, and what this president is really good at doing, which is messaging, even if the message is a lie, and it is a lie, it's a flat-out fairness lie. But the basic premise that this system has created this uneven, unfair playing field that you'll never have a chance to participate in, wealth didn't create deficits and debts. Wealthy people not paying taxes didn't give us $16 trillion in debt. Wealthy people not paying taxes didn't give us $100 trillion of unfunded liabilities. Wealthy people aren't the problem. Wealthy people supposedly not paying their fair share of taxes didn't give us the problem. What gave us the problem? Government did. Government, this administration in particular, in cahoots with George Bush's doubling of the national debt in his 8 years, is by nature narcissistic, risk-adverse as far as their own political fortunes are concerned, and they never have to deal with the consequences of their failed investments, schemes, proposals, legislation. They have a unique ability to be able to snap off the rearview mirrors and never look back. They never have to look at the damage they've done, the carnage they've done. My mother at 84 years old still thinks she's going to drive again one day after suffering a stroke about 6 or 7 months ago, but not necessarily a good driver to begin with. Her set skills behind the wheel were somewhat suspect at best, and then after she had her stroke, well, obviously, those skills have diminished. And she said, "Why are you giving me such a hard time about driving?" I said, "Because you're a lousy driver." And she goes, "I've never been in an accident in my life." I go, "Did you ever look behind you and see the ones you've caused?" That's politicians. My mother can cluelessly zip along in her little Honda, completely oblivious to the carnage that she has created and the destruction that she has caused in the path of her 10-2 death grip. My 4'10" mom, who looks between the top of the dashboard and the bottom of the top of the steering wheel so that she can have her perspective going forward. Same thing with politicians. They're hell-bent, 10-2, hands on America's steering wheel, driving to their destination, which is their political power and their reelection, and never looking in the rearview mirror because they've snapped the rearview mirrors off. They've snapped the side mirrors off. They never look back. And the media is not helping with regard to having people look back and look at the realities of what has caused us to get to the point where this socialist narcissist Obama, playing to the entitlement mentality, 50% of the country that doesn't pay taxes, where these problems came from in the first place. But now, all they're going to do is to go forward, hell-bent on their political victories, their entitlement futures, pandering to people who think that somehow because you were born in this country that you're supposedly not just going to have a silver spoon in your mouth, you're going to have a silver spoon factory that's going to be able to spit out silver spoons day after day, month after month, year after year, and no one except those rarefied air breathers, the wealthy, are ever going to have to do anything to lift a finger to be a productive member of society, to contribute, to create, to give back, to pay taxes. And I got to warn you, folks, this narcissist socialist president is damn good at getting those people fired up into believing that they've been screwed.
The Jerry Doyle Show.
Paying their fair share. You know, if we keep hearing the president says everything's got to be on the table, okay. But you see, the extra money from the wealthy isn't going to go to pay down the deficit. It's not going to go to retire deficits. It's not going to be used to avoid generational bankruptcy. It's going to be redistributed under the guise of fairness. Because we have to do something about those unfair student loans. We have to do something about our crumbling infrastructure. We have to spend more money on those in America who feel that the wealthy are the problem, and they want to exact their pound of financial flesh. 800-876-4123 is the number. Emails at the website, jerrydoyle.com. Join me.
You might have heard of this, but Warren Buffett is paying a lower tax rate than his secretary. Now that's wrong. That's not fair.
This is the Jerry Doyle Show.